So The Joker was a flop this weekend, and honestly, it's not a big surprise to me because I saw this coming even well before they released the trailer. There's a lot of things that were off early on in the production, and I've actually narrowed down about 5 different reasons for why this movie flopped. So without further ado, or without folie ado, let's talk about the 5 reasons why The Joker 2 flopped. Number 1, let's talk about this title, Joker Folie et Deux, which really comes off as a pretentious title. Let's just say that. It should have just been called The Joker 2 or Joker Arkham Asylum or something of that manner. There's really no reason why an American movie should have a French title. It really does come off as pretentious. And when you think about it, the title to a movie is really its first advertising. It's the first thing that a person's going to notice on a poster, other than just the art. But when you hear about a movie and you hear the title, that's its first time that is going to be advertised to people. And when you have a title that people don't even understand or have to look up to understand what it means, you're actually hurting the advertising for the movie. Simply calling it Joker 2 would have been fine. Like I said, they could have called it a lot of different things, but giving it this title just made it seem like there was something more to it than there actually was. So the title really hurt this movie because people didn't really understand what it meant, and it just kind of came off like an inside joke for the director Todd Phillips. Number 2, the musical. The musical aspect of this obviously hurt this. The first movie was not a musical, and the second one was a musical, which just is never going to work. When a person goes to see a movie and the movie is successful, you usually want to keep similar elements that you had in the first movie. You want to have a better story, a newer story, something that continues the journey of the character, but you don't want to switch it from being a drama to a musical. It's very jarring for the audience that saw the first movie to then switch up and accept that the whole entire premise of what they're watching is now a completely different film genre, which is a musical. The musical elements of the story were not necessary, did not drive the story forward, and the film would have been better without them. So having this musical element definitely hurt the movie. It really feels like the musical part of the movie was totally unnecessary. Number 3, Todd Phillips, the director. So Todd Phillips directed both movies, the first one and the second one, and co-wrote both of those movies. From what I understand, he had full creative control, and this is sometimes a big problem in Hollywood. When a studio feels that a director is very talented and has a unique vision for a character, they sometimes give them full creative control. And that can work if the director continues to have a unique vision and something new to tell, but it doesn't work when they don't have a creative vision or a new vision or something that they want to do with the character. There's scenes in this movie where they actually go back and revisit scenes from the prior movie. It appears that Todd Phillips has almost like a disdain for the Joker, and he doesn't like what the Joker represented or what the Joker has become. So he's used this opportunity to tear down the character of Arthur Fleck and portray him in a very different light than we saw him in the first movie. So Todd Phillips seems to be a major reason why this movie did not work. His need to have full creative control over this film and his almost disdain for the character seems to play a major role in why people are not liking this movie. So let's check out number 4. Number 4 is the script. The script and story having to do with this half in Arkham Asylum and half in court didn't seem to work for audiences. People were looking for Arthur Fleck to grow as a character, to see what happens next, to see what happens with the Joker's journey. But instead, what they did was go back and kind of regress the character. He had to go through a new journey of growth. But when you're watching a sequel, you want to see where the character went from when you last saw him. You don't want to go back and have them feel as though they didn't make any success, they didn't grow, that their character didn't develop. But that's exactly what they did. Half this movie takes place in Arkham, where he meets Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn, and half of it takes place in a courtroom where he's being tried for the crimes of the first movie. And neither of these things seem to work. The part of him being in Arkham for most audiences felt like that was the part where there was very little growth, where he basically was playing the exact character that he was in the first movie, but in the same place as though he hadn't developed and hadn't embraced his Joker side. And then the part of the courtroom seemed to be part of the movie where audiences felt that they were tearing down the previous film. So none of these sides seemed to work, and it seemed like the screenplay and story really failed this movie to make it feel as though it was a worthy sequel. And moving on to the 5th and final reason why The Joker 2 failed, It failed because it really did need to be made. At the end of the day, did we need a sequel to a story about the rise of Arthur Fleck becoming the Joker? We kind of already know what happens. The first movie showed that Arthur Fleck had embraced the Joker side of his personality. And after all of the movies that we've seen with the Joker and Batman, we can fill in the blanks ourselves and kind of know what happens to the Joker and where he goes from there. We didn't need really a sequel to this movie. I mean, at the end of the day, the Joker was supposed to be a solo film about the rise of Arthur Fleck becoming the Joker. And it's a film that doesn't connect to any other films, and it really didn't need a sequel. It's interesting when we found out they were going to do a sequel because we didn't expect it, and we all thought that they were going to do something new, something that tied into him really fully embracing the Joker side, and maybe we could see what happens from there. But instead, what we got was a complete retread of the first movie, but not as good, which is really a slap in the face to audiences. So when it really comes down to it, at the end of the day, the title of this movie failed it, the musical elements failed it, Todd Phillips failed it, the script and story failed it, and the fact that this story was even made failed the character. So what did you think about the Joker 2 failing at the box office? Do you have some additional reasons why you think it failed that I didn't mention? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below because I really want to know what you think. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the Cinema Maverick channel for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.